who can answer all of your questions. And today we're going to be doing a special webinar. This is actually the first webinar of this kind that we're going to be hosting. So this is a patient spotlight. I've gone ahead and titled this one the Iron Survivor, Chronic Lymphocytic Leukemia Patient Spotlight, Pratik Desai. I'm sorry, Pratik, if I butchered your last name. But Pratik is a member of the CLL community who has an incredible story. Pratik is a husband, a father, an endurance athlete, and a member of our CLL community who's continued to push boundaries and show what is possible through grit and determination. I've had the fortune of meeting Pratik and speaking with him a couple of times in the past couple of months, and he's a very inspirational person, and I'm so happy to have him joining us today. This has been something I wanted to get done for quite some time, but um, Patrick lives in a very different time zone than I do, so it makes it a little bit challenging, but we're able to make it work, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say. So with that, Patrick, thank you and welcome.
Hi, Dalton. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for everyone else. Patrick lives over in Dubai currently and is right now traveling in China. So when I say different time zones, I mean very different time zones, but he's worth having here. So yeah, thank you. But
Uh, yeah. So, hi everybody. I think it's good evening there. My name is Pratik. As Dalton has just introduced me, I am I would say, very recent survivor who have just been declared cancer free from CLL uh, this October 2024. But the journey, or I would say the fight with, or the introduction to the CLL happened to me in somewhere between June 2022. Just to give you a brief background, before this, before CLL happened to me, or before I got detected with CLL cancer, I've always been into the fitness side of the things. I mean, I've been a very active child, but and liked sports. A bit of dance, basically a lot of very active, restless soul, I would put it that way, and was always into probably long distance running. I shifted to Dubai and I moved my focus to triathlons as a what started with as a passion slash hobby. I've been doing it. So when you're doing such things, you always feel you're pretty much invincible. I mean, okay, you can do anything that you want to and you'll not be falling sick, but I think many a times destiny has a different plans. So one of the fine days when I was just having a mild shave, I saw a small lump behind my ear as well as around the neck area, and it kind of intrigued me. What's this? And that's when we just went to the doctor to get it showed, and it started with a small ultrasound followed by flows. They call it an FNSC, that is a fine needle aspiration cytology, and followed by a biopsy. And after the biopsy, I'm been told I've got some kind of cancer, and that kind of shook me off. I immediately flew from Dubai to India because that's where my support system is, as well as I would prefer to get treated in India because of the cost aspect as well. And then on further blood scan analysis, and after narrowing down a particular oncologist, Dr. Abhay Bhave in India, in Mumbai, uh, I was finally told that this is called CLL. I never heard about CLL before this because usually this is the first time where I heard a cancer which starts with chronic. So I said, okay, I usually know that if you're having some kind of cancer, you're going through the treatment and you're staying in the remission and you're staying cancer free. So I was a bit shocked. But when I went to the oncologist, the first thing that I got to hear from him is, okay, nothing to worry about. This is a good cancer to have. And that kind of baffled me because I was already in kind of shock and awe and maybe even depression, as how can it happen to a fit guy like me. But the oncologist just settled me down and he said only one thing which kind of changed my whole thinking about what he said is still it still sticks with me, that this is the cancer with what you can die with this cancer, but you cannot die because of this cancer.
Hmm.
So that changed my whole outlook, because usually when we hear we have cancer, the first thing that comes to our mind is death, or rather what's going to happen to the people who are associated with us, dependent on us, surviving with us. So our family, your wife, your kids, your parents, your sisters, siblings, everybody. uh, this kind of changed my approach, thinking, okay, if it is something that I can die with and not because of it, then let's tackle it in a ways that the cancer gets used to the body and not I get used to the cancer. And the next thing which kind of surprised me is he said something that I'm on a wait and watch. So when he said wait and watch, I was surprised as what do you mean by wait and watch, and it was completely a new learning for me, because it is difficult for any of us patients. I'm sure many of them are currently CLL patients. When a doctor says wait and watch, is
Are you there, Patrick?
you are not supposed to do anything except
There.
one end in the mind you're always knowing you are having cancer, but the problem is there is no treatment happening to it till your blood cells go that high, or till your lymph nodes go higher in number or bigger in sizes that you need the treatment. And I'm
Yeah.
like figuring it out. No, I'm trying to take a second opinion, third opinion. I in fact even we had planned a short holiday in US in December 2022, and while we were holidaying on the East Coast, we met a alternative medicine specialist. I think her name is Dr. Laura Hampton or something. I'm not remembering. She's very active on the CLL community as well. And we went and met her, and she also said, no, your numbers are perfect. You need to wait and watch. Don't need to worry. Just live your life normally, and things like that. So, yeah, uh, I kind of was quite okay for another year or so. But in between, I had a tough time where my father was hospitalized and on a ventilator and some more time. But my treatment didn't start, but I was doing monthly blood checkups and sharing it with my oncologist, and he was monitoring it and saying it, you need to keep doing this because we don't know, it can start, the treatment can even start in 3 months or 3 years or 30 years. It's a very slow moving, non affecting cancer. The reason I am emphasizing on this part to the people who are listening today is I'm sure many of them are on a wait and watch mode. CLL, as per me, I had two stages. One was wait and watch, and one was the actual treatment. If somebody will ask me what was more tougher, is the wait and watch, because this is where you don't know. It's a unknown variable where you kind of need to think positive, but even a small sneeze, even a small cold or runny nose will make you feel, oops, I'm going to the worst side. So it's not
Hmm.
like that. I could easily live a normal life, active life. I was not, I may be feeling a bit tired or maybe small symptoms here and there, but I did not let it affect me. In fact, when I got the news from my diagnosis till my acceptance, I was, I would say, in a very dark phase where I had weird thoughts of not surviving this. My confidence was low. I was mentally very negative. But the moment I accepted the wait and watch and said, after my maybe one or two blood tests, when I saw my numbers are going very slow, I said, screw it. Let's get back to normal life. And the only way for me, a normalcy is keep doing what I do. So routine, for me, routine works, and I'm sure for many people, because if you do not be busy in the whole day, you sit on a couch doing nothing, the thoughts start.
Yeah. No,
So
that
what I
makes.
kind of what I kind of did back then is, okay, if I'm supposed to live with this, and if my wait and watch may extend for 4 years, 5 years, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop my fitness goals. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop my bucket list goals of certain events that I've planned. And the other thought of it is, I would not know if my treatment start whether I can be able to do my triathlon or my Ironman or my Chronic Lymphocytic Leukemia or
Let's see. You still there, Patrick? We may be having some internet issues, but can anyone else hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I didn't know if I was the one with internet issues or if Patrick was. So hopefully his reconnects him soon. Um, but I just wanted to say to everyone in the audience today, um, please feel free to ask any questions to Patrick. I want this to be something that everyone benefits from and really an opportunity to learn from other patients and speak to one another and connect to one another. So, assuming that we're able to get Patrick back on here, please feel free to pop in if you have a question or want to know anything. Again, I've spoken with Patrick a little bit, and I think he has an incredible story, and I think that it's a story that a lot of people need to hear. And I think I really want this to be beneficial for everyone. So pop in wherever you can. I'm going to send Patrick a text real quick to see if he's
He's joining maybe from a different device.
okay. Perfect. Are you back with us, Patrick?
disconnected. I don't know how. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries. I was having internet issues earlier today, so I didn't know if it was you or me.
Okay.
But yeah,
So yeah,
go ahead.
as I was saying, to cut it short, there are two parts of CLL that we need to tackle. One is how to live positively during the wait and watch, and I was very lucky. My oncologist was very supportive. He was kind of a new school of thought instead of the old school where be careful. Uh, One thing that I realized, we should not compromise on the living the quality of life.
Mhm.
So that's what I ended up doing. I in fact ended up started doing my events. I did some half marathons, full marathons, and I even ended up doing, I knew my numbers are slowly going up, and I ended up doing a full Ironman also during this entire phase. But during this entire phase, there was a time where my dad was hospitalized and he eventually passed away. But that 10-15 days of stress, because I was under a lot of duress and stress where I forgot that I have CLL, my numbers. So I went to India to attend him when he was in hospital. My RBC, my white WB cells and all the numbers, the lymph nodes were quite in control. And 20 days of too much of stress, and after that, just 2 weeks after that, I one more did a blood check. Those numbers just shot up a lot. That's when kind of I understood, as well as the doctor told me, that stress is one of the big factors that can accelerate your CLL.
Mhm.
So, if you want to continue in wait and watch, which is a very good thing to do, believe me, where we can live a prolonged life with no side effects, no medicines, a healthy lifestyle, then try to avoid stress as much as possible. I mean,
Yeah,
if something happens as a situation, just divert your attention, probably divert your mind out of it. But more stressful you are, more sooner the CLL wait and watch gets over and the treatment
mhm.
has to start. Uh, Coming back to the treatment part, at around September 23, that's when I saw my blood reports, my lymph nodes, everything going off the charts. This was just 3 months after doing my full Ironman, and doctor says we should to do one more biopsy to make sure that it's only CLL and the disease has not progressed with any other cancer, which is also quite a possibility. We did one more biopsy. It was only CLL, and that's when he gave me two modes of treatment. One was to take oral chemo medicines for a period of 3 to 4 years, because which was more cost effective form of treatment. And the other, if I could afford, was to have a combination of immunotherapy of 8 injections in form of a drug by Gaziva called obinutuzumab, and oral chemo tablet for 10 months, which is called venetoclax. Now, venetoclax as a tablet is not available in India. It's on, in fact, it's manufactured in Turkey and Germany mainly. So I had to kind of get that medicine imported, uh, because the doctor said he's been listening very good reviews about the combination of these two medicines compared to to other forms of treatment that are available for CLL so far traditionally. The reports are good. Probably I would be the first guy to start and get experimented with this combination in India. And in that, he did a little bit of change. I started the venetoclax after my first 3 doses of immunotherapy. So my treatment started somewhere mid-October. In October, I took 2 doses of obinutuzumab, and the third dose of obinutuzumab was in first week of December. Were 3 doses back to back. Uh,
Mhm.
Only the first one was in ICU, where it was administered in a very slow speed to see if my body reacts well or good. So that was kind of a bit scary for me, because again, going back into the unknown. But once the first injection was done, I was kind of okay handling the other parts. So these 3 injections happen back to back 3 weeks, and it's called the first cycle. You have totally 6 cycles, and then the remaining five happens once every 3 weeks or once every month. So you have 5 more cycles depending on how each body takes it. And as soon as you start the second cycle, I was put on the chemo tablets of venetoclax. But for the first month, I just took one tablet a day, and then after my body was taking it nicely, the actual course is to take 2 tablets a day for 8 months. But my doctor said we'll start with a single tablet on one day and 2 tablets on every alternate day, and that's how we kept going on the treatment. uh, on the side effects side, I felt during the first mainly the injections, the obinutuzumab, the immunotherapy, you do feel a little groggy while it's given to you. You feel a little dizzy, but you most of the oncologists are very smart. They will give you all kind of drugs like a pre-acidic, or if you're having feeling of pukiness or everything. So every side effect is pre-given to you, so it tackles. But the better way I looked at it is, okay, I have to go to my clinic. I have to sit there for 4 5 hours. So you just need to divert your attention. Once the saline is
Mhm.
in, you can't do anything. You need to trust that the medicine, which is so advanced now, will do its job that it is supposed to,
Mhm.
and it will heal you. It will treat you, and it will take you to other side of this illness. That's
Yeah.
the thing that I kept it in my mind. And yeah, I was a bit you can say I was a bit crazy, because the first thing that I asked my doctor, can I do some sort of physical exercise, because I don't want to take injections and just stay at home thinking my immunity is weak and keep myself restricted to a bedroom for 10 months. And he knew me right from the wait and watch method, and that's when uh, uh, he said that no, you should be going out, you should be doing, just wear a mask, be careful, or go for a walk whenever it's empty, or maybe you can hit a gym whenever, but an empty gym. So I
Mhm.
found my solace in working out. I found my routine in there, and I was also trying to do in a ways that if it can tire me physically when I'm going for my injections, I just have to go there and sleep. So by the time I go there, I sleep and wake up, my 4 5 hours of dose is over, and I just do all my tests and walk out of the clinic and go back home. Uh, so that was my main goal. And after my injections were over, I came back to Dubai for my oral chemo tablets, and I started slowly things back to where they were. Obviously, I was not doing things on a full throttle with regards to my fitness and my life, but I started get back to searching jobs and started working full time, uh, alternate days to begin with, to see how my body started. And I started gymming. I started a little bit of running and cycling indoors and getting my fitness back. And every time I do something, every day I just increase my activity by probably 5 minutes extra, or intensity by like 2% extra. And then every 3 weeks there was a blood test, and the blood test was beautiful. uh, Taking obinuzutab straight away slashed my WBCs to almost half in the first two doses itself. And then those, right now, in fact, when and then the venetoclax slowly drags it down. In fact, now whenever I'm doing my blood test, all my parameters are perfect except the lymphocytes, neutrophils, as well as the WBCs, which is still on the lower parameter, which is good, because if it keeps rising, then I get to the wait and watch again, which I am not right now.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think God has been kind. Uh, my main intention to say these things about fitness is, the more active we get, irrespective of whatever stage of CLL we are in, because there is no stage in CLL. It's either wait and watch or treatment. It's not like those difficult cancers where you had stage one, stage two, stage three. I probably was at stage four when my CLL hit high, but it didn't affect me physically, uh, and I did not let it affect me mentally. So
Hmm.
I would only say, fine. Again, now I understand when my doctor says it's a good cancer to have, because I would take this instead of any other cancer. So
Yeah.
if my cancer was in my lymph nodes and not in my blood, my cancer would have been lymphoma. And that's when you go on the aggressive chemotherapy, where you kind of have a port in your system and you have hard chemos, where you have a possibility of losing your hair, losing your weight, losing a lot of things. Uh, and that is a very difficult thing if your body cannot support those drugs. Whereas
Hmm.
in CLL, uh, I was on an oral chemo, and the injections that I took was through a saline, which was the immunotherapy, which really helps you. In fact, now, after I'm off the medicines, there are days when you feel a little more tired than before, probably because now the medicine's effect is wearing off. The venetoclax effect is now maybe completely washed out of my system, because the last tablet I had was probably on 31st September or probably 1st October. So we are talking November, December, 3 months now. It's been there where I have not been taking any medicines. So that's in a nutshell that I thought I would tell about my story, where the only reason that I could come out of it positively was doing two things: not stopping what I did earlier with regards to my lifestyle, which was very hectic. Yes, I would have slowed down a bit, but I did not stop any of it in a fear that I may not survive this. In fact, when I got to know this is chronic and it's going to come back after whenever it comes, I decided I want cancer or CLL to get used to me rather than me getting used to CLL.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
think,
that's that's all I would want to say in a short nutshell. Maybe there would be so many people wanting to ask questions, and happy to answer whatever needs to be asked about.
yeah, I think that was great, and a great opportunity for people to kind of hear from someone who has gone through CLL. And like you mentioned, the struggles of being on the wait and watch of you don't know what's coming next. So you having that experience to share with people, I think is really helpful. And then also being able to share that you went through, when you went through treatment, you went through venetoclax and inotuzumab, which is a standard treatment. So a lot of people can probably relate to the treatment that you have gone through, and the fact that you were able to go through, well, do a full Ironman while in watch and wait, and then continue to train while being treated, I think is pretty incredible. Um, and something that always blows me away every time I have the chance to speak with you is just your mindset. You seem like such the like eternal optimist. you seem so positive. Like, yes, CLL is a better cancer to be diagnosed with than some others, but it's still cancer. But you somehow seem like you almost make it seem as if your life has somehow changed because of CLL and not necessarily in a bad way. And I just admire your
You don't have a
outlook
choice,
so
right?
much.
You're not left with any choice anyways. You've got it with you now. So it's like if life is giving you lemons, make a tequila out of it and have that lemon. So you don't have a choice. You automatically do get stronger. That's why I think we all are called survivors, and not patients.
Yeah. Well, now's the time for anyone to ask questions to Patrick. You can feel free to ask those via the chat button, or you can unmute yourself. Again, I want this to be very informational for everyone. I want this to be a chance for everyone to just come together and speak about their experiences. So, like, ask whatever. We're all happy to help. However, Mark
Yes.
asks, do you know of other endurance athletes with CLL?
So, a funny story, but when I got CLL, the first thing I was trying to find out is who else are into this field with CLL, and I found a guy. I think he's in Philadelphia. He's called Steve, and he's got CLL probably 30 years ago. He's gone through 40 or 45 or even 50 plus chemos. He was an Ironman and he's done some Olympic Ironman still now. In fact, he's training. Now he's obviously 60 plus, so he's not doing much, but he's done Ironmans and I've spoken to him and he used to, in fact, run home after every chemo of his. He's taken more than 50 chemos. His name is Steve. I don't know his full name, but he has a small book on his experience early days. I think it's called My Cancer, My Rules. Uh, I ordered it, I read it, and it kind of helped me a lot to get back to what I thought I couldn't do. I hope that helps. MC, I don't know your names. Mark. Yeah, I do. I hope it helps you, Mark.
And then Paula asks, how long did were you on watch and wait before you ended up starting treatment?
I was on wait and watch from June 2022 to September 2023 or October. So almost 14 months.
Okay.
So it will always depend from person to person and how fast your bad cells are being multiplied from your bone marrow. So sorry, your regular blood tests will give your oncologist an idea. So initially for the first 6 months, they will want to see your blood scans every month to see what's the percentage or all the numbers. So what you could do is when you are doing to your blood checks, make an Excel sheet, write your WBC count, RBC count, neutrophils count, absolute neutrophils, lymphocytes, and see how fast are they growing. If they are growing at a very steady rate for first 3 4 6 months, it means it's a very slow moving cancer, and you probably may have 2 3 years to worry about treatment at back then. But if it's jumping quickly, then your oncologist might put you sooner than later.
And then the next question I think is a really good one to cover, because fatigue is one of the most common side effects for people with CLL. So what helped you push through on those days when you didn't feel like exercising?
Most of the days I did not feel like exercising initially when I got it, but the only thing that helped me to push was if I don't do that, my routine disrupts. Uh,
Hmm.
so for me, the routine was important because let's say it. I used to work out getting up 5 in the morning because that's when I could get an empty gym to prevent myself from any infections from other people around. I should wear those full gloves and go to the gym and work out alone. Uh, that adrenaline that you get by pumping iron or even just walking on the treadmill for 20 minutes because your blood circulation increases, that changes your perception. So a day or two, let's say you don't work out on 2 3 days, just see how you feel that entire day. Try to note down your feelings of Have you felt after a small workout? And have you felt after not doing a workout at all on that day? Your lethargy levels will be different. So when you start noticing that, you'll realize that you don't need to push yourself for exercising again. uh, I used to
Yeah.
do one very small thing, whenever, and I still do it when I don't feel like waking up. As soon as I hit my alarm off to get up, I don't put it on snooze, but in my mind, I will start a countdown timer. And while I'm on my bed, I'll say five, four, three, two, one. Straight away at one, I get up and I just feel okay, a race is started for that day, because that's where the reverse countdown helps. So try this, it might help you a lot.
Yeah. And I would love if you could expand a little bit about your experience during treatment, being on, or we have another uh, co- comment coming in, so we'll go ahead and skip to that. I've been watching weight for 10 years. I started Brukenza 2 months ago, still working out 1.5 hours a day, 6 days a week. At 76
Yeah.
years old, I'm still trying my
Wow.
best, fighting through fatigue, and it's getting better. After first 2 minutes of exercise, it gets easier, and I forget I have CLL for a while. Thank you for your encouraging words.
Thank you
So
so much, Gary.
I think that's really that's a big reason why I asked Patrick here is I don't have CLL. I don't have an excuse, but there's a lot of days where I'm tired. I don't want to work out. I don't want to do things. And I think a lot of it is that mindset that you've talked about and just getting up and doing something, and it makes you feel better. And I've hosted webinars in the past that are really focused on just combating fatigue and how a little bit of movement can go a long ways for combating fatigue. And I know that that's one of the larger complaints amongst the community is just the fatigue is dreadful. So I
It is.
seeing someone who has CLL and is able to continue to push themselves the way that you do, I feel like I mean, it inspires me to get up and move every time I speak with you. And I hope that it does the same for our community. But um, besides your blood cell count numbers being high, were you feeling sick when your doctor decided it was time to start treatment?
Yes, Kathy, I did feel a bit sick, as in the fatigue started increasing. I would put it that way. There was a time when I felt, when you want to wake up, that your system is bonking, or like it's like you've got hit by a truck. I felt that a lot during treatment as well, but you got to do what you got to do. So uh, you don't have a choice. I mean, it's either, let's put it that way. I had decided back then, it's either the cancer makes me sit on my bench and or a couch and let me not do anything, or else I keep getting up and making the cancer realize that I'm not going to stop. So eventually CLL has to give up. I don't have a choice. I cannot give up, because if I do give up once, uh, the things go the other way.
And then um, you briefly touched on it, but I would love if you could talk a little bit more about your experience on obinutuzumab and venetoclax, and just I know a lot of people have some questions, and obviously side effects are different for
Y-
everyone,
y-
but
Yeah.
just if you could cover some of what that
Uh,
whole time looked like for you.
when I started the obinutuzumab, I lost the first cycle where you're having the three injections back to back. It kind of screws up your gut. You don't feel like eating anything, or whatever you eat, you feel like throwing it up, because it's something new in your system, and it's kind of consumes your body. I would say I probably lost 6 to 7 kilos of weight during my first month of treatment, where I kind of, it just sucked out all of fat from me, or all my muscle from me, and I kind of was reduced to size, because you can't eat anything. Those three drugs are very heavy when it goes week after week after week, because that's how the cycle is. The first cycle is the most aggressive, and then you gradually keep pushing those drug to kill your cells. So that first cycle, first three doses were, out of the 8 doses, were a little difficult for me. and then the combination of it. So the venetoclax starts with the fourth dose. So it's tough because once either you feel dizzy or giddy, you don't feel like eating. Because you don't feel like eating, you end up less eating, and that also kind of doesn't give you the energy. So you feel more fatigued. You just want to lie down and do nothing most of the times.
Hmm.
Also, you do feel a little sleepy. But once the body starts getting used to the drug, you kind of find your way through the normalcy. uh, Whenever I used to have venetoclax, so venetoclax is always supposed to be taken after a heavy meal. So you can't take it in night and you can't take it in early. Either you take it early morning after a heavy breakfast or lunch. I prefer to take it during lunch because I was also working. So after venetoclax, for the first 20 minutes, you feel a little dizzy. So I found out in a way that worked for me. As soon as I have my lunch and a venetoclax, in my office during the lunch hour, I should sleep for half an hour on my office chair, bringing my legs on the table. For half an hour, I used to sleep. So before I start feeling dizzy and kind of I having bad thoughts that I'm not reacting well to the medicine or the body is not reacting well, before that I just go to sleep. So if I'm sleeping, the dizziness doesn't count. Maybe I took it in the other way. Same used to happen when I used to take the obinutuzumab. Whenever I was injected for the first 10 minutes, because they also used to give us some steroid, probably Deca or something, I don't remember. So you start feeling a bit drowsy. Uh, Now, there are two ways to think about it. If you start feeling drowsy, you'll get some people may panic, thinking something is happening to me. Doctor, just check my pulse. Something is you get all kind of thoughts, Dalton. You might think your BP is pressure dropping, you're feeling dizzy, so you might faint. Either you let that thoughts keep coming to you. For me, I was thinking, okay, I'm kind of on a good high, probably after two single malts. So I cheated my mind telling that, okay, this is a happy high after a few drinks. That's why I'm feeling dizzy. Let's sit back and enjoy. And during those times, I used to call one of my friends with me instead of my parents or my sister because my wife and my son were in Dubai. And we used to just chit chat around the old days, talking, giggling around, playing cards. So I did not let it affect. In fact, my oncologist quite upset. Initially, was quite upset because that clinic had almost 8 beds, and the other ones were having a little bit different kind of cancer, which were difficult to maintain or manage. But they all kind of first day when I was giggling around, they did not like me. But when I went for the next and the next and the next, eventually by the fourth session, we all were playing Monopoly one of these days because they realize there's no point of thinking bad while having the this thing. So yeah, your mind plays games, but I think we get stronger. There is no other choice but to get stronger.
Hmm. I think, yeah, I think getting stronger is all that you can do. So,
One
well,
more
if
question from
anyone,
Kathy is, when did you decide the time to start for treatments? So for me, or rather for everybody, because it's lymphocytic lymphoma, chronic. So either your blood cell numbers will be high or your lymph nodes number of lymph nodes will be high, or if you're doing, I also had to do regular sonography, ultrasound, to see the size of my lymph nodes. So for me, the indication that my oncologist said, if any of your lymph node is more than 5 centimeters, then you need to start treatment because your lymph nodes are roaming around in the body. A 5 centimeter lymph node can block or push any nerve, or it can push your kidney, push your spleen, and if it can get stuck somewhere, it can damage your breathing style. So if any lymph node went above 5 centimeter, then you don't see the WBC numbers. You straight away start the treatment to blast those lymph nodes. In my case, the blood numbers were increasing, but my lymph node sizes were increasing even bigger. I had one of the lymph nodes which was almost 9 centimeters. So that's when we decided. And the first thing we did by biopsy was remove that bigger lymph node which was dangling around my throat.
all right, does anyone else have any other questions for Pratik? We do have a little bit of time left, so feel free to hop in with any questions if you have them. If not, I'm we can go ahead and give people a little bit more time on a Friday night as well and get let Patrick get back on his travels. But we'll give it another second. But I wanted to thank you again for joining us. This is
One
something
more,
that, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, one more thing I would like to say to most of the guys who are going through CLL: trust your oncologist, and if you find a good one, just trust the onco blindly. The moment you start shuffling doctors for a second and a third opinion, that's when the things will go south, because each doctor will have a different school of thought, a different way of seeing your report and deciding on the treatment. And no treatment is wrong treatment. But if you're changing the doctor, you are changing the ideology of what he's been working on you since last 1 year while you're on wait and watch. And the other ideology might be good or bad, but it may upset your relation. Rather than thinking of changing a doctor, make the doctor your friend in a ways that he's invested in you more to make you treat correctly. So don't jump doctors once you know that, okay, you have decided the line of treatment, stick to it and go through it, as long as it
Mhm.
is reacting correctly.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Patrick. Honestly, since I first connected with you, this is something I've been wanting to put together. So I'm happy
Happy
that
to
you
help.
had to travel to China for a work trip because it allowed us to find a time frame that worked a little bit better. But truly, I thank you so much for hopping on and doing this with us today. All right.
Thank you so much. I think we've got one more message.
Just
Okay. Thank
saying
you,
thank
Keith.
you for sharing.
My pleasure.
All right. So before we go, I wanted to highlight the Track My Disease feature in the HealthTree Care Hub. Once you've connected your medical records, you can use Track My Disease feature um, to provide you with the ability to gain one-of-a-kind access to your health information, encompassing lab results, genetic profiles, and offering you invaluable insights into your own medical journey. On the screen, I have the link to sign up for the Health Tree Care Hub, along with the email address for amazing patient navigators who are available to help you create an account and connect your records. I'll also include information about how to enroll in Health Tree Care Hub in our follow-up event or follow-up email, so look out there. Um, we do have a couple of upcoming events for February. So we have a How Chronic Lymphocytic Leukemia Weakens Your Immune System with Dr. Andres Kang, and then also an emotional wellness for chronic lymphocytic leukemia patients. This one will be with a psychologist who specializes in working with oncology patients, and it's really tailored towards that experience that Patrick touched on of being on wait and watch and having a chronic cancer. So, highly recommend that if you're available to check those out. And then wanted our wanted to give out one more special thank you to our sponsor, AbbVie. Again, we wouldn't be able to put on events like this without them. And finally, I wanted to say a thank you to each and every one of you for joining us tonight. Um, this really does help build our CLO community. I've gone ahead and added my email address to the slide here, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions about HealthTree, any of our programs. You just want to talk to me, I'm always open for that. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Hopefully, I see you all soon. Bye.